Hey everybody, Mike here, and welcome to the very final episode of The Buzz before I end up seeing Bumblebee in theaters. Now, most likely there will be some episodes of The Buzz going over some things after I see Bumblebee, like the box office, which is what I'm going to be predicting in this video. And also, I'm definitely going to be having spoiler-free and spoiler reviews, so the Bumblebee coverage will not be done after the 8th. I'll make sure of that. But in today's episode, we're going to be going over predictions for the box office. And this is going to be difficult, because really no one knows how Bumblebee is going to perform. Of course, it has competition with Aquaman and Mary Poppins, and even Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Welcome to Marwen. I think there's a Jennifer Lopez comedy coming out as well. So there's a lot of competition going on in the later half of December. So that is why I think Paramount has decided to do December 8th showings. Now, how do they track the money that they get from these December 8th showings? I don't know, but for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to consider it part of opening weekend. And since it is Christmas weekend, the box office will be counted up to, I believe, Christmas Day. It's like a holiday tracking thing that they do for domestic box office totals, so it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about however they track the first weekend is just how I'm going to be presenting this video. I guess classically, I should say. So first of all, we're going to talk about that domestic box office opening weekend. And first, let's take a little travel back in time to which Transformers film did the best on opening weekend in the US, and that was Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, which opened with $108 million. It was the highest grossing US, or highest grossing domestic release for a Transformers film. So that got 108. I believe Age of Extinction opened just barely to 100 million. And then there was The Last Night, which is the lowest total, and that came in at 45 million. So The Last Night was definitely a step down. People saw the negative reviews and they decided to just go ahead and pass on it. So what will Bumblebee do? So Box Office Pro, which tracks the box office as well as making predictions, they predict that Bumblebee is going to be making $20 million on its opening weekend. I personally think that's a little bit low. My guess is on opening weekend, Bumblebee is going to take in a total of $40 million, which is going to be just $5 million less than The Last Night. We also have to remember that this is a much smaller movie than the previous Transformers films, so I'd say $40 million opening weekend, especially against Aquaman, would be considered a win in Bumblebee's favor. Now, as far as the domestic total, how much money will this make domestically by the end of its run? We'll take another look back at The Last Night being the lowest of the 5 films that had been released, and it took in $130 million, and that was a lot less than the previous low, which is Transformers Age of Extinction, and Age of Extinction took in $245 million domestic. And that contrasts greatly to Revenge of the Fallen, which took in over $400 million in the domestic alone. So, what will Bumblebee do? I'm going to say that Bumblebee is going to take in $200 million in domestic box office. And considering it has I would say $40 million opening, $200 million domestic total, I'd say that is right where Bumblebee kind of needs to be. So it would make more than The Last Night, but less than Age of Extinction. And I think that would be a decent total, considering the budget is a lot lower than it is for any previous Transformers film. This is a much smaller movie. Now, as far as how much money Bumblebee is going to make worldwide. So Dark of the Moon and Age of Extinction stand way on top. They made over $1 billion. Dark of the Moon was once the 4th highest grossing film of all time worldwide. So that was a big movie. Age of Extinction also made a lot. The Last Night did not. The Last Night made $605 million worldwide, and considering its budget and the previous films, it was not good. The first film took in, I believe, over $700 million, and it didn't even have the benefit of 3D ticket sales. The Last Night, for all intents and purposes, was considered mainly a flop. So what will Bumblebee do? I'm going to say that Bumblebee is going to take in $600 million at the box office, and that is for worldwide total, U.S., domestic, international. It's going to take in a total of $600 million by the end of its run. And you're probably thinking, wait a second, but that would make it the lowest grossing Transformers film, even less than The Last Night. That wouldn't be good. Well, like I said, the budget is a lot lower than it was, especially compared to The Last Night, which I believe had the largest budget of all of the Transformers films. You know, Michael Bay likes to travel the world a lot, so that takes a lot of money, having the crews out there and filming at places like Stonehenge, per se. So that and a lot of the explosions that Michael Bay likes to do practically, it costs a lot of money. And also, I believe this human cast is going to be a lot smaller, so that's a lot less extras, that type of thing. So, also the fact that there's going to be, I'm assuming, a little less action than usual as well. So, I think that Bumblebee, I guess you could call it Transformers Bumblebee, that's what it's kind of loosely being called. So Bumblebee is going to be taking in $600 million worldwide by the end of its run. Now, like I said, it is lower than what we saw even with The Last Night, but considering the budget and the type of film that this is a more family-friendly, smaller film. I believe that a $600 million box office would be a success in the eyes of Paramount, and I believe it would warrant a sequel, which I believe is rumored to be having maybe like an Optimus Prime spinoff, or they even could do a sequel to Bumblebee, depending on how this one lays out in the future. So those are my thoughts on how much money Bumblebee is going to be making in the future. And remember, we could also run into the Jumanji effect. If Bumblebee gets great word of mouth, it could make a ton of money. Jumanji started out really slow, and it made over $1 billion, and it had to run up against Star Wars The Last Jedi. So it is possible for Bumblebee to be a sleeper like Jumanji and end up getting a lot of money in the long run. It really depends on how well this movie is perceived in the beginning, and those December 8th previews would help out a lot if people end up liking the movie. So those are my thoughts on Bumblebee's box office potential. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. How do you think Bumblebee is going to be doing at the box office? And make sure to follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And make sure to tag your photos and videos when you see Bumblebee in theaters with the hashtag BumblebeeBuzz, and I will be using them in a video dedicated to the fans watching the film in the future. So make sure to do that. And until next time, I'm Mike. See you guys.